Man, I can't wait to get into these X-Men films.
No, 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 we must review Venom first!
Oh man, people, today I got my Venom t-shirt on and I got my new Venom pop figure, so I gotta talk about Venom. So Venom was directed by Rupert Fletcher, you know, the director of Zombieland. And it stars Tom Hardy, Michelle Williams, and Riz Ahmed. So going into this movie, I kind of had a lot of expectations just because of the fact that I am a 90s Spider-Man fan, and in the 90s, yeah, Venom was kind of the shit. He was an anti-hero in a time where anti-heroes were very, very popular. And he was created by the guy that wrote Spawn, Seth MacFarlane, and I was a big fan of Spawn back in the day. I actually used to watch that animated series that they had. Yeah, growing up, Venom was the shit. And then I see these trailers and I get worried because yeah, it just didn't really seem like they had a handle on this project. And I was kind of right about some of it, and I was kind of wrong about another half of it. And the story here is a lot different from the original's Venom Origins. It has a lot to do with the Venom Origins that they're kind of going through. The comic books today, which I am not reading, but I know it is more space-based, and it is just a lot more of it, the alien roots. So pretty much astronauts go up into space, and they come back down with a bunch of symbiotes that the Life Foundation, ran by Riz Ahmed, now have, and they will do a lot of experiments on. Eventually, Eddie Brock, or Tom Hardy's character, gets involved with it, and after quite a bit of time, actually bonds with the symbiote, and we have our Venom anti-hero? Maybe? Kinda? Sorta? Look, the best part of this movie is what we all knew would be the best part of this movie, and that is Tom Hardy as Eddie Brock and Venom. Tom Hardy is really, really good in this movie, and even better than what I thought he would be. He is not the Eddie Brock that you guys know from the comic books, but he brings a lot of character to Eddie Brock that he didn't really have before, and I feel like he's a lot more of a likable character here, and that is very, very important. But on top of that, I don't really feel like this Eddie Brock is a betrayal of the character just because of how much I like him. And I like his relationship with his on and off girlfriend, Anna. Michelle Williams in this movie is given a raw deal just because of the fact that she is so much of just the typical just girlfriend who just sides with our lead character just because, and is only here to be functional and lead that lead character from place to place to place. She is just functional as far as a script standpoint goes, but Michelle Williams brings a whole lot of just snark to this role and a lot more of a likability that really you can tell is not in the script. So the same likability that Tom Hardy brings to this, she brings. They work for each other, you know? They go back and forth. They have the kind of banter that Deadpool and Vanessa have in those Deadpool movies, only it's not as fleshed out here, and it is good, but it still works. And that is what is going to carry you through this movie while it kind of lags at the beginning. I will say that for me, I wasn't bored just because I really enjoyed just being with these characters. But for some people, it takes a lot of time, about 45 minutes, for Eddie Brock to become Venom. But the relationship stuff is what actually works in this movie the most. The relationship between Eddie Brock and the symbiote is just, again, excellent, very well written, and really, really what you want to see. There are a lot of comedy bits here, but it mostly works, and that is due to, again, the performance of Tom Hardy, but he is just really great at juggling the just spastic tones that this movie wants to go through, just because, man, this movie tonally is all over the place, and he handles it the best he can. Tonally, this movie is a hot mess. They will have an action scene that is largely meant to be taken seriously, and then have some slapstick comedy bits stuck in the middle of it, and really, this slaps in the face of a director that isn't in charge of his vision or his movie. It really has tonal problems that a director should fix. And if you want to find somebody to blame for this movie's tonal issues, because that is what the majority of the people are complaining about with this movie, I would definitely blame this director in not being really in charge or having a good grip on his film. Action scenes are good to middling just because of the quick cutting that they go through here. I like the creativity of the action that they want to do. They really take the symbiote and apply it to action scenes to really give you a newer action that kind of spices things up. But, unfortunately, with the quick cutting that this movie wants to do, it just undermines a lot of that in a lot of the action scenes. Now, I will say that some of that I feel like has to do with the fact that at one point in time, this movie was supposed to be rated R, and a lot of the action just seems like it will be not so much of, like, biting a dude's head off. Or, it happens a couple of times, but more like, Venom slashes a guy, and then instead of, seeing the whole thing, it will just cut, and then the guy falls towards the screen or something like that. There is some issues with editing as far as the action goes, which prevents me from liking the action as much as I feel like some people are liking it. And then you have our villain here, Riz Ahmed's character, Carlton Drake. I actually had to look that up on IMDb just because I didn't remember the character's name because I could care less about this character. This guy is really just one note. And I feel like that is a disservice to Riz Ahmed, who is actually a good actor. I remember seeing him in Nightcrawler. I liked him in Nightcrawler. So what is he doing here with this one-note character that has absolutely no dimension? He is just flat. And the only reason that he is here is to pose a threat towards the later half of the movie. But when he does, it just feels like it is just kind of slapped in here, and it doesn't feel organic. There are a whole lot of issues with this movie where I will feel like I am into it, and I am very into the character drama. But then they will throw in something that either feels like it is studio mandated or something that they just really wanted in this movie to build the world, and it just feels clumsily inserted into this movie, and I really struggled with that. In the end, I did enjoy my time with Venom, and while watching it, I was entertained, but thinking back at it, this is one of those movies that the more you think about, the more you have issues with it, just because you you start to notice the tonal inconsistencies and just what this movie could be to what it was as a finished product. And for that, I do have to give this a 6 out of 10. This is a very troubled movie that I actually got some enjoyment out of, but could have really, really, really pleased me. So next on the channel, people, I will be getting into Star Wars: A Solo Story, finally, and then I will be getting into X-Men in 4K, as you heard about at the beginning of the video. And yeah, there's going to be a whole lot coming out for you guys. So subscribe so you know when those videos come out, man, because you know you want to see them. And thank you for watching my videos. As always, you know you're awesome, and I will see all of you next time.